Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to our Practice Better Deep Dive webinar. So we're here today with a very special guest and Practice Better partner, Fullscript, and we'll be learning all about the 5 steps to client protocol adherence using Practice Better and Fullscript. So let's take a look at the agenda, what we're going to be covering today. So I'm going to be introducing our expert presenter, Ross Bailey, here in a minute. He's going to do a presentation on the 5 steps to improve adherence. So he's going to talk about practitioner education, proactive screening, providing and educating on your initial protocol, continuing to measure and continuing to add key strategies. Then I'm going to be doing a demonstration in Practice Better, and I'm going to be reviewing the Better Sleep, Better Life protocol and program that I built in my demo system for you to see in Practice Better. And during that, you'll see kind of throughout that how the Fullscript integration works in Practice Better. This is one of our favorite integrations. It's super robust and we love it. And then we're going to talk about an upcoming live work session where you can join Ross and me live. And so we'll talk about that towards the end. All right, so yeah, so I'm Shelley Myers, the business success coach for Practice Better. A lot of you already know me. And I'm joined with Ross Bailey, the medical education lead with Fullscript. And I did want to take a minute to further introduce our expert presenter, as Ross has such a great background, and I think it'll give some context to what he's presenting today. So Ross is from Ottawa, Canada, and graduated from Queen's University with a bachelor's in kinesiology and from Western University with a master's in kinesiology. Ross has been with Full for over 5 years and is currently the medical education lead on the Integrative Medical Advisory team. So leveraging his research and educational expertise, Ross has produced or contributed towards a considerable number of Fullscript's medical education assets, including blog articles, patient handouts, webinars, and conference presentations, evidence-based supplement ingredient protocols and reviews, and comprehensive practitioner guides and white papers. So 2 of Ross's latest major contributions include lead authorship on Fullscript's PubMed indexed report on treatment adherence and the extended report on behavioral change in integrative medicine. And you guys, if you haven't already checked those out, you will have links to go check them out. I would highly recommend them. They're very comprehensive and interesting. So in his spare time, Ross engages in and maintains a rigorous personal fitness routine. He enjoys playing in semi-competitive volleyball leagues and keeps tabs on the latest research trends in sports nutrition. So welcome, Ross. We're so excited that you're here. And if you can just go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, so I'm sorry, the previous one. Yeah, so most of you already know Practice Better since you're here on a Practice Better webinar, but Practice Better is one of the top EHRs and practice management platforms used by thousands of health and wellness professionals across the globe as their infrastructure to drive growth, support clients, and make incredible impact. And one of our awesome partners, Fullscript, they are a health technology platform within the integrative medicine space that specializes in improving access to high quality supplements. So Fullscript simplifies the path to lifelong wellness with singular access to personalized treatment planning, ongoing wellness support, and healthcare's best supplements. So welcome, Fullscript and Ross. So we're so happy to have you, and we can't wait to learn more from you during this presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ross.
Well, thank you so much, Shelley, for that introduction. As mentioned, my name's Ross, and I'll be bringing us through the 5 key steps to improving adherence to your protocols today. So here are some of those objectives that for today's educational session. We're first going to go over what adherence actually means by familiarizing ourselves with its definition. We're then going to go through the 5 steps to help support your clients in adhering to the protocols that you are providing to them. And finally, we'll be going over how Practice Better and Fullscript can be used to support building protocols in a way that also helps your clients stay on track with their wellness plans. So let's just jump right in. What is treatment adherence? Well, adherence is defined as the extent to which a client's behavior follows an agreed upon protocol. Historically, in medical literature, practitioners have often used the word compliance as a synonym or as like an original term for adherence, but it really gives this feeling or an interpretation that the client is just here to follow your recommendations without consideration for that client's individual treatment preferences or their health or treatment values. And as we'll go over briefly later in this presentation, these are qualifiers that go a long way for helping your patients to stay on top of their protocols. So over time, however, adherence has now become that preferred term and concept because it really best captures this idea of the therapeutic alliance where the practitioner and client are working together in partnership to combine the practitioner's health and medical expertise with the patient's treatment preferences, their views, their choices, and it really empowers patients to have a more active role in their protocol. Okay, so at this point, great. We've got an idea of what adherence means, but how do we actually go about applying this knowledge day to day? Well, this brings us to our 5 key steps to improving protocol adherence. And here they are. So quickly, we'll go over a summary of what each step means, and the rest of my talk will go more in depth into the evidence-based ways that you can adopt or use these steps to help support your clients in adhering to your protocols. So the first step, as outlined in the slide, involves continual practitioner engagement in educational opportunities on the topic of adherence to become more aware of the importance of and strategies available to support adherence to your protocols. The second step involves gathering insights from your clients in terms of the potential barriers to long-term engagement with your protocols and understanding the areas in which you might need to have an immediate impact to boost adherence for that individual client. The third step is to provide the protocol to your client, but doing so alongside the delivery of adherence boosting strategies that are beneficial, particularly during those initial steps of the health plan. The fourth step involves keeping tabs on how your client is doing with the plan and whether they've actually been able to follow through with it. And finally, the fifth step is to continue to support your client's health protocol by adding other strategies that can help to maintain or boost adherence over time as needed. So the first step is for practitioners to increase their own awareness of the adherence element of creating protocols and the factors that are most likely to impact clients' abilities to adhere to those protocols through ongoing practitioner education like we're doing here today. So kudos to all of you. You're already well on your way to supporting your clients in adhering to your protocols. So why does adherence matter in the first place? I mean, why can't we just recommend a treatment plan or protocol to our clients and expect results? Well, as I'm sure we're all aware, intentions don't always lead to action, and treatment non-adherence is a widespread challenge for any practitioner across any health or wellness context. Anywhere between 15 to 30% of clients don't even act on that first treatment plan they're initially recommended. And the likelihood of actually sticking with that treatment plan beyond that 6-month mark drops to around 50%, which actually has very important implications in terms of the development and treatment of chronic disease. And really, this becomes a major concern since the vast majority of healthcare costs nowadays are associated with that prevalence of chronic disease and the fact that more than half of North Americans are affected by it. And adherence to protocols implies adhering to recommendations, of course, beyond things like supplements or medications. This 2012 meta-analysis showed that as more healthy behaviors are adopted, there continues to be added benefit to the relative risk reduction of all-cause mortality compared to not adopting any healthy behaviors. So this could include anything from reducing smoking or alcohol to increasing exercise, maintaining sleep hygiene, or making healthy dietary changes. But there are a lot of potential reasons why clients might not start or be able to maintain a treatment plan. We found from this landmark white paper by the World Health Organization in 2003 that treatment adherence is quite complex. There are hundreds of factors that can contribute to non-adherence, and these can be related to the treatment plan itself, the patient or the client, the practitioner, the healthcare system, socioeconomic factors, and so on and so forth. But basic examples within each category here include things like not believing, for example, that adopting a moderate to vigorous exercise routine can be just as beneficial, if not more beneficial, for managing chronic diseases such as diabetes or hypertension than the pharmaceuticals that are nowadays so often prescribed for them. And this is not to say that pharma doesn't have its place, but it's easy to fall into the flows and beliefs of our dominant healthcare systems without due consideration for other possible alternatives. Financial constraints or lack of time or tendencies for clients to indicate that they forgot to take their supplements or that they're not motivated enough to engage in that exercise regimen that you've recommended are other obvious examples. But other things like a lack of symptoms or the fact that maybe symptoms are just not severe enough are also factors that might come into play or influence the likelihood that a client will adhere to the protocol that you're recommending. So all of that to say is that it is key for practitioners such as yourselves to really become familiar with the factors that can influence adherence and take the time to engage in educational opportunities to learn more about the ways in which you can provide added benefits to your clients' protocols through the adoption of adherence boosting tools or interventions. And studies show that practitioner targeted interventions, which can include these kinds of educational components, among other things, can actually provide benefits to client adherence. So from the educational side of things, as we're doing here today, components to improve adherence can include things such as training or education and knowing the signs and types of adherence barriers and understanding how to mitigate them, providing education about adherence to the clients themselves, learning about the ways of tracking adherence, improving your communication skills, and becoming skilled in negotiating and agreeing upon those specific aspects of the protocol itself, as we'd kind of outlined with that idea of a therapeutic alliance previously. But one of the major things to take away from this list is that uncovering key barriers to adherence is really the crucial element that practitioners need to keep in mind, and becomes very apparent as we move into the second step of proactive screening. So this step is really centralized on identifying and understanding those barriers that might be most important to that specific client prior to the initiation of the protocol, so that you can help to mitigate those barriers that are, again, individual to that person. So key to this step is asking open-ended questions from your clients that help to elicit which barriers might be most likely to get in the way of following the protocol to the greatest extent. So for example, by asking open-ended questions, you might uncover that a client is skeptical about certain kinds of treatments, and that this might actually change your approach for building the protocol by first emphasizing some of those treatments they may have more positive attitudes towards before trying others, for instance. Or you might even consider spending more time on educating the client about the benefits to all those kinds of alternative treatments or lifestyle modalities that they might be skeptical of in the first place. And motivational interviewing is one of those tools or strategies that has been particularly well shown for improving adherence, because it really instills this sense of shared partnership and stake in the client's well-being. And it's a great way to communicate empathy. It's one of those tools and skills where you ask open-ended questions to elicit the reasons why that client might be motivated to engage in a particular protocol or change their health. And it really helps them to self-realize what they need to do in order to follow the plan to their best ability. So these are some of the tips to keep in mind with motivational interviewing. We won't go through each one in detail, but as mentioned, it's best to ask questions that do not necessarily provide a yes or no answer. And it's great to recognize when clients are putting in efforts to make changes to their health and really focus on their strengths in a way that they can be reflected into any new protocol that you build alongside your client. It involves guiding them through providing their own perspectives on their problems and what they'd like to do about it. But there are also some tips here that we've outlined of what not to do or what to avoid, which can include things like directly giving the client an answer to their problems or persuading them down certain paths or providing interpretations of what the client is saying, because this can start to imply that we as the practitioner know what the client's problem is and exactly what they should be doing to fix it, instead of allowing for that self-discovery process to occur. Other methods for identifying adherence barriers can include the use of validated and reliable questionnaires that ask about adherence or other related concepts. For example, the University of Rhode Island Change Assessment Scale, or otherwise known as Eureka, is one of the most widely applied scales of readiness to change and is available in many languages. It has about 32 questions where the client completes and rates various items on a Likert scale of 1 to 5, and it allows the practitioner to calculate and determine how ready that client is to make changes to their behaviors or follow their protocol. But there are also many insights that you can derive from the individual questions themselves. So as mentioned, at the end of this questionnaire, the practitioner calculates a readiness score, which can be used to discuss and learn where there might be barriers or blocks to adherence. For those of you who are interested in this kind of scale, Fullscript does have a designed version of this questionnaire available in our resource library, but it's also freely available online. In the spirit of identifying adherence barriers, this slide shows some of the top perceived barriers of adherence that we found from our treatment adherence report in integrative medicine. On the top is a graph from interviews on perceived barriers to adherence from 25 practitioners who tend to have higher adherence using the Fullscript platform. And on the bottom is the results of a survey answered from 185 practitioners who also use Fullscript. As you can see here, though, the major barriers that practitioners felt would be most likely to influence their clients' ability to adhere to their wellness plans included cost and readiness to change. So these might be areas that are particularly important to consider within the context of the integrated medical protocol. And again, in our most recent research on behavioral change in integrated medicine, similar findings were found when we asked Fullscript patients about their top perceived barriers to adherence. Around 35% were moderately or very affected by cost, 20% were moderately or very affected by a lack of time, and 19% were moderately or very affected by having a lack of motivation or not having positive attitudes or beliefs towards their treatment plan or protocol. So again, these are areas that might be particularly common to consider as integrated practitioners. And so we're going to highlight a few strategies that might be helpful to mitigate these particular barriers in the next steps for providing the protocol and adding other adherence boosting strategies. Okay, so we've now done some background work on understanding the factors that are most important to consider before actually creating the client's protocol. And we've uncovered some of those common barriers that might contribute to the reduced likelihood that your client will follow your recommendations. So the next step is to incorporate those initial adherence strategies alongside the delivery of your protocol and to make sure that your client understands the importance of adhering to the protocol itself. So these stats are meant to indicate that the implementation of adherence strategies has been shown in meta-analyses to improve adherence. But in order for that to happen, we need to continue to add strategies over time so that we avoid reductions in those adherence boosting strategy efficacy. So that means you might have to add additional strategies. Importantly, research has also shown that different types of adherence boosting strategies can be more effectively implemented during certain time points of the protocol itself. So specifically starting out with technical interventions, which are those that are mainly involves about modifying those technical aspects of the protocol itself, such as cost or complexity, are best to start out with. And then following that as needed with other strategies that are meant to help with behaviors or attitudes. So this could be things like boosting self-efficacy through goal setting, for instance, or providing additional education for the patient's protocol. So the next few following slides are examples of some of those technical interventions, or the ones that we've shown to help most effectively at the start of the initial protocol here. And that also match some of those barriers that we had identified as being particularly common in our adherence and behavioral change research. So cost is the first one and can be quite difficult to mitigate, but there are ways in which you can navigate discussions around this particular barrier. These things can include openly discussing what is realistic with the client to include as part of the protocol itself, prioritizing products or treatments or lifestyle behaviors based on factors such as personal choice and evidence for efficacy. When available, providing discounts or other rewards or incentives to those clients, providing options where a client can elect for more or less cost-effective regimens based on their choice, and when possible, opting for methods that can be run through insurance plans. Using staged approaches can also help with keeping costs lower at the get-go. This involves getting started out slow, but with maybe one or two components of that protocol, and then adding elements as the protocol proceeds over time, or as the client becomes more comfortable with that protocol. So the challenge here is that practitioners often know of all the things the client will need to do right off the get-go. And so it can become really easy to get excited and to recommend all the components of the protocol at once, because they can seem like they would be very simple things to implement. But on the client side, this isn't always the case. So the key component of this approach is to reduce the complexity of the protocol itself by prioritizing what is most important to start with, providing clear timelines or instructions on the progression through the protocol, and having options to choose from, or making the protocol relatable by linking it to daily habits. Using clear and simple instructions is another technical intervention that focuses on improving communication with the client. And there's actually evidence to show that using technology to build protocols or treatment plans or prescriptions, or otherwise known as e-prescribing, is beneficial for improving adherence, saving healthcare costs, and of course, saving practitioners time. Compared to with old school methods of handwriting these protocols, e-prescribing can improve legibility, reduce that dispensing time, and prescribing errors. But as much as possible, regardless of whether you're handwriting your protocols or using technology, it's recommended to format instructions using plain and simple language, and that those instructions are organized in logical manners, such as through lists or sections. And here we'll just use an example of how Fullscript helps to practice this clear and simple communication principle. The recommendation or prescription page really allows you to explicitly customize the dose, duration, and time, and separates these components from any additional instructions or messaging that you may have. And this can occur for each product recommendation within the protocol that you're building. And this is done so that when you send your protocol, you can be particularly confident that your client will be more likely to easily understand what to do and follow their wellness plan. Okay, so now that you've sent the protocol to your client and have included some helpful tools to keep your client on track, the next step is to make sure that you have a means to understand whether your client is actually continuing to follow through with the protocol itself. And the measure that you opt for will likely depend on the treatment modality or the lifestyle behaviors you're implementing within your protocol. But the ideal scenario is to try and combine measures of quantitative and qualitative data to capture a fuller picture of that adherence story. So objective measures, which are typically quantitative in nature, are usually better for getting reliable understanding of the client's adherence behaviors, but they don't often help to understand the nature of those behaviors, or perhaps the reasons why a client might not have followed the plan as much as subjective measures like diaries or questionnaires might. Since the measures you may need to adopt will vary based on that treatment modality, and that there are benefits and drawbacks to both objective and subjective measures, there's really no gold standard way to measure adherence. However, literature often recommends that combining elements of those quantitative or objective data with that qualitative or subjective measures is best to optimally gather reliable insights that also provide context to those adherence-related behaviors. And there are tons of examples of ways that you can try to capture measures of adherence to your protocols, including through technology. Some examples shown here include tracking steps or time in exercise, using tools to keep track of sleep habits, duration, or quality, or even other tools that are directly meant to capture whether the client is following through with using the supplements or medications that may have been recommended to them. And Fullscript is another example within that realm of possibility specific to the supplement adherence side of things. So through Fullscript, you can view when clients have or have not placed orders, and you can learn the potential reasons as to why they might not have adhered to your protocol by sending adherence surveys. This survey allows the client to specify whether there were barriers such as cost or feeling like they were overwhelmed by the protocol, or perhaps they purchased the protocol elsewhere, or maybe even that they were just not planning to order for some other reason. And this can help you make informed decisions on how you might approach that protocol with your patient in any follow-up communications or consultations. But with individual clients, you can even then choose to send them reminder notifications in the cases where they might have just simply forgotten to order. So now we move on to that final step to improving adherence to your client's protocols. As mentioned in one of the previous slides, over time, adherence strategies might become less and less effective, and clients can become more and more likely to fall off that protocol adherence bandwagon. So you might need to continue to add other strategies to help keep your clients adherent over time. So we'll now go over a few other evidence-based examples that you can apply within your wellness protocols. So this example is a little bit more specific to those supplements or medication needs, but it's an area that's been studied quite a lot. So consideration of packaging strategies, such as through the use of daily compartmentalization boxes or punch cards or blister packs or smart dispensers, can provide moderate benefits to adherence to those supplement protocols, particularly when they're combined with other strategies. Smart dispensers or pill boxes, or smart pill boxes rather, are those that can provide reminders or alerts to take your supplement or medication. And some of the more high-tech versions also collect data on when clients are actually opening those bottles to take their daily doses, and can give the individual and the practitioner timestamps of when those supplements or medications were taken each day or not. And these smart dispensers might be especially be useful in cases where cost might be less of a burdensome barrier to patients. Along the same lines as smart dispensers, having means to provide clients with reminders and feedback is also beneficial to keep on track with their protocols. One area that is quite widely studied is through the use of mobile devices to deliver reminders, since this is an extremely widespread thing that almost everyone has on their persons at all times. But they can also be beneficial for reducing the likelihood of missing follow-up appointments, for instance. So these types of strategies can include things like refill reminders or reminders to take your supplements or medications, notifications from your Fitbit to stand up and take a few steps every hour, buzzers that might remind you to drink some water, and so on and so forth. But with respect to feedback strategies, these mainly pertain to improving adherence by providing the client and practitioner with information on how the patient's health is changing or not changing over time, and how closely they are following the protocol and making any necessary changes to their behaviors. So examples here might include monitoring health data, such as anticipated changes in blood pressure or blood glucose from delivering and adhering to a protocol that should influence these markers over time. Continuously taking into account client preference is another key tool for maintaining adherence, and is one of those attitudinal or behavioral intervention types. Meta-analyses often show that clients who are allocated to study arms that provide a preferential choice to treatment have added benefits to their clinical outcomes than clients that don't have that choice. Similarly, other meta-analyses also show that clients involved in decision-making or who were provided their preferred treatment options tend to have higher treatment satisfaction, they tend to improve their protocol adherence, and they tend to have better clinical outcomes. So if we default back to those examples of keeping in mind client preference when building supplement protocols, This might include keeping note of which quality considerations, for example, a client might find most important, such as claims or certifications for being perhaps organic or safe for sport or vegan, for instance. Other applications include being conscious of the specific product characteristics themselves, such as whether the client prefers capsules or liquids, flavors, specific brands, or if there are other cost considerations. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, good protocol communication requires the provision of tailored education, both on the specific aspects of the protocol itself, but also on the importance of adhering to that protocol. It's important to remember that some clients will want more detail, while others might not actually be able to handle that added detail. So practitioners really need to understand which clients kind of fall into which categories and to distribute educational materials accordingly. As a whole, though, education is important for client empowerment, but it is not typically enough as a standalone strategy to improve adherence long-term, which is why I like to keep it within this continue to add other key strategies step, but really education should start with the initiation of the protocol step, especially since studies show that adherence improves more in groups that receive educational interventions than in interventions that don't actually include an educational component. So those kinds of educational components can involve things like sharing the importance of managing the disease or the condition and its possible complications, the importance of the protocol itself, the importance of adhering to the protocol, how to best implement lifestyle changes, such as through providing instructions, perhaps for a specific exercise regimen or diet maybe, how to self-monitor the progression, regression, or lack of changes in health status over time, and other things like treatment-related side effects. And again, just tying this back to Fullscript, you can see how we try to tackle this strategy by providing a readily available resource library inside the Fullscript platform from the prescriptions drop-down menu. And you can get a quick view of the breadth of the content here that you can provide to your clients with confidence that each resource has been authored professionally by our integrated medical advisory team. And the library includes more than 150 resources on some of those topics that I mentioned in the previous slide and more. So I'd like to leave you with a summary of the 5 steps that we just talked about for improving adherence to your protocols using these kinds of evidence-based strategies. So first, it involves continual practitioner education and staying up to date on those latest strategies, tools, and resources to boost adherence, and understanding how to incorporate them into your practice. Second, it involves gathering information and understanding the areas in which your clients may need the most support to adhere to their protocols. Third, it involves providing that protocol, but doing so alongside pre-planned adherence strategies, particularly within that technical intervention type. Fourth, it involves keeping tabs on how the protocol is going with your client and using a combination of qualitative and quantitative measures when you can. And fifth, it involves adding additional adherence boosting strategies over time as needed. And with that, I just want to say thank you for listening, and I'll now hand things back over to you, Shelley.
Thank you, Ross. That was amazing. So much information there. Luckily, you'll have the recording. You can go back and watch this. You'll also get access to these slides. So Ross, if you could just go to the promotion slide, that would be great. So before we get into the demo, I just want to mention that Fullscript is offering a very generous and exclusive promotion. This would be for new signups. If you're new to Fullscript, if you sign up for Fullscript and then activate the integration with Practice Better, which is super easy to do, just takes less than a minute in Practice Better, you will get 10 free shipping credits. So you could pass those along to your patients and clients, or you can use those for your own orders. So I just want to mention that. So if you can get signed up on Fullscript, integrate it with, or activate the integration with Practice Better, you will get more information on how the shipping credits work. But this way you can be all ready to go for the live workshop that we're going to talk about at the end here. All right, so Ross, if you can unshare your screen, I'm going to pull up my demo account. I'm going to stop my video and Ross too, just so that you can focus on the screen. Let me go ahead and share. Okay. All right. Are you seeing my demo system? Okay. Can't see my screen anymore. Ross, are you able to see my demo screen here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Awesome. Okay. So what I want to show you in my demo system, and just to let you know, these are all demo clients information. None of this is real, but I want to show you how robust and intuitive the Fullscript and Practice Better integration is, and also some of the features in Practice Better that you can leverage to help keep your clients engaged and on track with their supplement protocols. So first we're going to take a look at, I'm going to head over here to my practice and then down to protocol templates. So what I did is I created a optimal sleep support protocol, and I actually broke it out into 3 phases. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go along, but I wanted to show you how I initially created this. Is I have some protocols from Fullscript. Actually, I'll show you that. So over here under recommendations and protocols. So I added some of the Fullscript protocols to my protocols in Fullscript. And then I came over here and I clicked the red button, and then I go up here to create from or select from a Fullscript template. So I was able to just click on this, and I created a new protocol which pulled all the supplement information over from my Fullscript protocol. So that was a huge time saver in creating this protocol template. So just to take a look at this, I just wanted you to see how nice you can make these protocols and how you can incorporate other components of a protocol like food recommendations, lifestyle recommendations, educational materials around the supplement protocol. So it all kind of fits together. So this optimal sleep support protocol, this is actually going to be part of a 12-month package. So I am a sleep coach. I want to offer a package to my clients over 12 months. They will get one-on-one coaching sessions with me. They will have a phased approach to their supplement protocol. So what I have here is actually a template. So I haven't given it to a client yet, but I just wanted to show you how nice you can make these protocols look with images. I just put in a sample video. So what you can do, I'll just show you, you can embed a video.
And in this video, I'm going to share with you important information on the best supplements to support a good night's sleep.
Yeah, so we don't need to watch it, but I just want to show you can make your own video. And again, this is just to help engage the clients. They get to know you better, through hearing you talk. But in the video, if you do this, you can put in, what can they expect in this protocol? Now this one is a phase 1. So this is 2 months, what the benefits are, the phases of the protocol, how that's going to work, how to use the protocol, how to order your supplements. It doesn't have to be a long video, but you're just introducing them to you, your practice, the protocol itself. Just give them some strategies to stay on track. And obviously you're going to be giving them more strategies over the 12 months. So you don't really want to overwhelm them, but just kind of, get them excited about it and just let them know that you're going to be there to coach them and help them overcome any barriers that they have, what they can do if they get off track. Now this image, this was actually from the Fullscript over here. This was from the resource library. So I downloaded a bunch of the sleep resources, which I'll show you here in a little bit. And I put that right here in the protocol. So essential oils for sleep. And then down here, I've added the resources as attachments, which I'll show you, and then also the supplement. So I'm just letting them know that when the client is looking at the protocol on their end, they can actually save it to their computer. They can print out the entire protocol, but also at the end, they'll have a really nice supplement table that helps them understand what time of the day they're taking their supplements, and they could just keep that with the supplements. So you can see here that I added some food recommendations for better sleep. I'm not going to get too much into the food and lifestyle recommendations. I just want you to see how you can incorporate the supplement recommendations into an overall lifestyle and, nutritional protocol. So here we have the supplement recommendations. And the nice thing with this is I did not have to type all this stuff in. It came over from the protocol that I had on Fullscript. I can definitely come in here and edit any of these. I can add, I'm going to show you actually in phase 2, I'm going to add a few supplements to that, but I just want to show you how that these supplements came over and were already part of this protocol template. And then here you've got the lifestyle recommendations and the supporting documents so they can view and download. So these again came from Fullscript. How does stress affect the body? That's very helpful. A weekly sleep diary. So I'm going to show you, I actually built this as a form in Practice Better in the form builder. I made it exactly the same, except it's a daily sleep diary. So they can just get a new copy every day and fill it out. So I'll show you how you can use that. All right, so that is what the phase 1 looks like. Now let's just go back over here, and I just want to show you in phase 2. So this is another 2-month protocol. And all we're going to be doing is taking the protocol that we already have, and we're going to add some additional supplements. So if you have a patient or client who has never taken supplements, perhaps you've already given them a questionnaire or done a screening, and they're just not quite ready to start taking all these supplements, you can kind of give them a stepwise approach and layer them in. So here I want to come in, I'm going to add a couple more supplements to the phase 2. So you'll see here, I am going to pull the supplements from the Fullscript catalog because I have that integration activated. So the first supplement I'm going to add, I'm just going to add 2 so you can see, I'm going to do a search here for omega. And I'm going to look for, I am going to add this one, but first I just want to take a quick peek at it. So I click the 3 dots, I can come over here, it says in stock. I can get more information right here without having to leave the screen. I could look at other similar products if I wanted to, compare some products to this. But since I've used this before, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this. So it's going to pull it up and it's going to say, do you want to recommend the 30 soft gels or the 60? I'm going to go ahead and recommend the 60 soft gels. And I'm going to use the recommended dosage from Pure Encapsulation. So I'll just pull that in. So that is 1 gel and it's once per day. I'm going to recommend with lunch. And I'm just going to say this is going to be an ongoing supplement until I decide that they don't need to take it anymore. And then down here, you want to click this. If you want them to get those refill reminders that Ross had mentioned earlier, you can just check this box and then they'll get reminders. So what it's doing here is it's building this recommendation over on Fullscript. So then you can add down here, if you wanted, you don't have to, but if you want to add some related health conditions, and then any additional information. So this is defaulting in from Fullscript to take it with a meal. So I've added that. And I'm going to close out of this. So let's just add one more. So we're going to come up here and say add another, and then we're going to type in multivitamins. So you can search by brand. The search is super easy. You can go by brand, the type, any kind of allergens like gluten-free. So here I want to look for I'm going to come down here and look for the Pure Encapsulations Women's Nutrients. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to do the 360 capsules. Again, I want to use the recommended dosage from Pure Encapsulation. So this one is 2 capsules, and we're going to do this 3 times per day. So we're going to do, let's see, this one is with meals. So we're going to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we're going to do this ongoing again. So you can see how easy this is. I'm not going to fill all of this out, but let's add this. So now in the phase 2 recommendation, now you could modify if you wanted to add more food or lifestyle recommendations or take some out if they're already, doing such a good job, but you can see that I'm just starting to layer in some additional supplements in phase 2. All right, so let me save this. So now I want to show you how to give this to a client. So if you're in your protocols, we can come over here and say create for a client. You can pick your client here. And then once you see the client up here at the top, you're going to know that now that template that we just created is now specific to this client. So now you can make it really personalized for that client. So you can modify the food recommendations, but you're not starting from scratch. So this is where the huge time saver is. You already have this template here, but you can come in and make modifications to make these protocols very personalized to your clients and their health needs. So you can see here that we have those supplement recommendations for sleep. I can click here to check the availability on Fullscript. So are these going to be available? Fortunately, all of them are right now, but if something was on back order, I could decide to find a similar product that was in stock until that one's available, but here they're all available. So that's great. So now I want to say create a Fullscript recommendation. So that's going to create the recommendation for my client Addie over on Fullscript. So I do not need to go over there and go to her account and add all these supplements. It's going to be ready when Addie gets the, actually, let me show you. I did some screenshots because I didn't want to have to log out. So on the client portal, this just gives you an idea of what that supplement chart that they get at the end of their protocol, like how nice that is. These are just some little screen snippets. But when the client is logged into their portal and they get the protocol, they're going to see, they can view the protocol, download the protocol, or order the supplements. This is going to take them to your online dispensary where they can add those supplements to their cart and they can order those. When they go into the protocol detail, there's another button here to order the supplements. And then they will get an email asking them to either log in or sign up for their account. You can see here that I'm giving my client Addie a 10% discount because she's part of my year-long program and she purchased a package, which part of the value of the package is that she gets a 10% discount on any of the optimal sleep supplements. So now I'm going to come up here, I'm going to say save and publish, and I'm going to send her a notification that she has a new protocol. All right, so you could adjust the discount here if you wanted to, and then you could also, if you have in your office, if you wanted to do an in-office checkout, you could do that here, but we are not going to do that. So now I want to go, I'm in Addie's record here. I'm going to go to protocols and I see that I have given her the phase 1 optimal sleep protocol. I'm just going to preview that. So we're not in the client portal, we're on the practitioner side, but just to kind of see again what this protocol looks like and how it's incorporating the supplements into the rest of all the other educational materials. There's the supplement chart. So let's go back here. And now I just want to show you how you can set up. Oh, and then also when you're in their protocols, right here is where you can go to see if you wanted to adjust the discount on top of. You can see that I already have a 10% discount over on Fullscript. But if I wanted to kind of on the fly add another, 5% or something, I could do that here. You would also see any orders that she hasn't placed any orders yet, but you would see the orders that were placed on Fullscript. You would see those over here. Okay, so now let's go look at a package that I set up. I just want to show you how you can make this just really easy for yourself when using Practice Better. So we're going to go into the Better Sleep, Better Life Coaching and Protocols 12-month package. So you can see what I've included. So the package actually has 21 sessions over the year, different types of sessions, and Practice Better will manage this package for you as the client is booking those sessions. It's the price for this includes the optimal sleep support protocols, phases 1, 2, and 3 over the year. So you're just letting them know that they're getting professional grade supplement recommendations, lifestyle, food recommendations, handouts, and other valuable resources. And for being purchasing this package, they get the 10% off those optimal sleep supplements from Fullscript. They also will get access to 2 programs that I have built in Practice Better. So they'll get the Better Sleep, Better Life 6-month program, and then also a 10-day self-care challenge. And that is just going to, again, help them with some strategies around better sleeping. So you can see down here, I have added my sessions here. This allows Practice Better to manage those sessions for me, so I don't have to keep track of how many they have left. And by adding the programs to this package, when the client purchases this package, they're automatically going to be enrolled in these 2 programs, which I'm going to show you. So you do not have to enroll them. They'll be enrolled, they'll start getting the educational materials. So it's just a huge time saver, and it's a really great client and patient experience for them. So let's save that. Before we take a look at those programs, I just want to show you in the forms how you can create forms around, the protocol. So here I created, this was based on the Fullscript form for the weekly sleep diary. Let's go. I actually created it as a daily because you could set up recurring forms, or you can attach these in a program in the daily modules so that your clients can keep track of their daily sleep. So you can see here, we have some check boxes, some different question types, but they can complete this multiple times, and then this is going to help you determine if they need more motivation and accountability. The other thing that the way that you can keep track, or your clients could keep track of their sleep, is through the journals. So if we just take a quick look at Addie's journals, you can see that she's been tracking her sleep in her lifestyle journal. So she's got a couple entries. So she can either enter this manually, or if she's using a Fitbit for sleep tracking, she can connect that to Practice Better and have that sleep information come over automatically. But you can see here, we've got some targets set for her sleep. So she's reached one of the 2 targets for this day. And she had posted down here that she had a really restful night's sleep. And then I, as her practitioner, was able to comment that I'm so happy and congratulations, just giving her some encouragement. And so that's just another tool to help you keep your clients on track of their protocol. So let's just take a look lastly at these programs that I built. So if you have access to the programs, if you're on the Pro plan, you would have access to the fixed date programs. And then on the Plus or Team plan, you would have access to the Evergreen or the self-paced programs. So what I did is I just started an outline just so you can, this is just an idea, Better Sleep, Better Life program. So even though this is going to be some work up front and you don't have to put a ton of information into these modules, but once you build it, you saw how I added this to the package. So when the client pays for this year-long package to work with you, they would automatically be enrolled in this program, and then they would automatically get this information from you. It really just kind of offloads a lot of the educational and sort of direction, you know, how to order your supplements, how to stay on track on your protocol. So what I did is I took, this is actually a 12-month program, but for the first month, maybe you want to share more information, you kind of taper it down over the year, because in the beginning, they're going to need more information, more support. So you can see in week 1, you know, I have a welcome module. I have a module about their protocol, how to order their supplements, and just information about the Fullscript online dispensary. I also talk about the 10-day self-care challenge, which they also have access to, and how to get the most out of that. And then planning for your coaching sessions. So what do they need to do to get the most out of those one-on-one sessions with me, and kind of how to plan for that. So if we just go into one of these modules, you'll see that I did not add any content, but this is where you can add your, if you create a welcome video, that would be really nice to add. Just welcome to the program. It doesn't have to be very long. You can add attachments if you have any kind of recipes or guides or anything like that. But I did add some tasks. So when you add a task, so this one is to review the sleep protocol, and this one is to order the supplements for the phase 1. These are really nice because you can set priorities, you can set due dates, reminders, again, the reminders. So they can get a reminder through the client portal. They'll also get an email, and I included information on, you know, my dispensary, where do they go? So you can put as much detail in there as you want about how they're going to order their supplements, you know, that type of thing. So I also added the daily sleeps diary that I just showed you to, so they're automatically going to get that. Again, you don't have to send it to them. And then I added the sleep protocol phase 1 here. So you can see just how robust you can make these programs. And once you create it, it's already done. And it just is such a time saver. And I mean, you're still working with the client, you're still having sessions, but this is in between sessions, keeping them engaged and motivated. So let's go back here. And then you'll see as we go on, it kind of cuts down. So as the weeks, we have week 2, this is about food. So you can kind of have a theme for the week, optimal lifestyle strategies, mindset and meditation. But then we're going to, and then you can have protocol check-in. You can, you know, how are they doing on the protocol? What questions do they have? How can they ask you those questions? And then you start to get into, here's month 2. We're still on phase 1, but now we're going to start to talk about transitioning to phase 2, which is going to start in month 3. So in phase 2, you saw we added a few more supplements. In phase 3, which actually starts in month 5, you may add some additional supplements, and that would go for the rest of the year. So you can just keep, and you don't even have to build all these out with an evergreen program. You could have just the first few months built and kind of launch this program. And then you can start, continue to build these out in draft mode while your clients are going through, the first couple months. But again, huge time saver for you, and really helps with that adherence to the protocol. And then real quick, you can see with the 10-day self-care challenge, this is just another, it's only 10 days. If we go in here to preview, this is kind of what it looks like on the client side. So they have the content overview. Here's the content of the actual module. So it's giving them some information. And then over here, we have some tasks, and then we have a form that they would complete. And then they would move on. So day 2, they would get information on hydrate. So this isn't all about sleep. It's more about self-care, but that obviously will help with sleep. We do have one module here on sleep. So I just wanted to show you how easy it is to add these to a package. So they'll just be automatically enrolled, and through that program, it's really going to help to keep them on track with the supplement protocol. So I hope that was helpful. I do want to talk about the upcoming live work session. So we really hope that you guys will come and join Ross and me for one of our upcoming deep dives, which is called Protocol Adherence, a build along work session. So it's going to be a live work session. So for this deep dive, we're mixing things up a bit with the live work session that's going to be focused around protocol adherence. So together we'll build a protocol and practice better utilizing a supplement protocol from the Fullscript dispensary. We'll bring in additional supplements via the Fullscript practice better integration and run through the valuable and time-saving features that this integration offers. So in addition, you'll learn how to incorporate practice better forms, educational materials, food and lifestyle recommendations, and more into your protocols for improved client and patient adherence. You'll then have the ability to ask our expert Ross Bailey questions regarding protocol adherence as we build these protocols together during the live work session. So this will be a live event, so you want to come prepared to make the most of your time together. In order to do that, I encourage you to go set up your Fullscript account, then come back, link it in Practice Better, and you'll get those 10 free shipping credits, and then you're going to be ready to create your protocol on our live session. So keep an eye out for more information on this and where you can register. So Ross and we thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on our live work session here very soon.